Super Rugby Aotearoa, the second game. For me, it's the bigger game because I am a Blues fan. Blues hosting the Hurricanes at Eden Park. Blues, traditionally the laughing stock in recent years of the New Zealand Conference, always coming in bottom. Prior to lockdown, we're actually having a pretty good season. They were having a 5-win, 2-loss season, including a win over the Hurricanes, who in their own right were having a decent season with 4 wins and 2 losses. Again, that one loss, one of those losses, being to the Blues when they were playing at home. It was a bad game for the Hurricanes. They had really bad discipline. I think it was 2 yellow cards and a red card in that game. And interestingly, I think it was Paul Cully on Twitter highlighted kind of the stupid way rugby union deals with red cards, because the Hurricanes prop in that game got a 3-week ban. Well, it's been more than 3 weeks, but it's only been a 1-game it's like suspension for him. So Tyrell Lomax, the prop, is free to play. If it had been a 3-game ban, he would still have 2 games to go. But it's 3 weeks, and it's been a ton more than 3 weeks since we've had some rugby. I'm not going to dwell on that. He's back, which is fine. Rugby is back, so I'm pretty happy. Ticket sales for this game have been really good. Usually I think the Blues get between 10 and 15,000 fans. I think ticket sales so far are 34 or 36? So we're getting some good sales. I've already got my ticket. It should be a good game. I think there's still tickets on sale, but not the cheapest ones anymore. I think the cheapest ones are sold out. You're looking at silver, gold, platinum if you want to get along. How's this game going to go? Well, we've got the lineups. And for Blues fans, there's, I guess, 2 particular names that people were looking at to see. One of them is Beauden Barrett, who joined us end of last year. Hasn't yet played for the Blues, so he'll be getting his first game for the Blues. He had a sabbatical where he was supposed to have a rest. Well, everybody's had a bit of a rest now. But interestingly, Bodie is starting at 15. Now, the Blues, if you are new to Super Rugby, we are stacked with guys who play 10. Beauden Barrett obviously signed from the Canes, which makes this game a little bit more spicy. We've got Ardie Savea, who was our main guy before lockdown. We've got Harry Plummer, who's a guy who plays kind of utility 10-12. And Stephen Perifeta, who is injured and I don't think coming back. And we've also signed Dan Carter. So these are all the guys we've got who play 10. Bodie obviously plays fullback, so they've moved him to fullback. And Ardie Savea, who I don't know that I've seen him play 10. I think he's more of a specialist 10. So he gets the nod at 10. So Bodie starting his Blues career at fullback. Interesting, Ardie Savea also used to play for the Hurricanes. Both of them moved up north to play for the Blues. So we'll see how that goes. The Blues coach is Leon McDonald, former All Black and Crusader. Interestingly said, we've got 2 pretty decent 10s. We've got a couple of pretty decent 10s, something like that, describing Ardie and Beauden. So, he's right. Beauden's World Player of the Year a couple of times. But the rest of the squad, Hodgman, Parsons, and Tu'ungafasi are your front row. So, Tu'ungafasi is probably the biggest name of those 3. James Parsons has had a couple of caps for the All Blacks, but probably when you compare it to the Hurricanes front row, it's going to be a bit of a battle. Tuipulotu and Goodhue are the second row, with Tuipulotu captaining. Tom Robinson, Hoskins, Satutu, and Blake Gibson is an exciting back row. You don't have any kind of huge, like Sam Cane, Ardie Savea names there. But Satutu was in massive form before lockdown. Blake Gibson is a proper fetcher, and Tom Robinson is also going to add a bit of stuff at line-out time along with high work rate, so he's going to be good to watch. The backs, Sam Nock and Ardie Savea is 9 and 10. That is not, again, it's not like the sexiest combo, like if it was TJ Perenara, Beauden Barrett kind of thing. It's a useful combo, and Ardie Savea, as I said, was in good form before lockdown. He was the one running the ship when it was 5 and 2, so he can't complain. TJ Fa'ane and Rico Ioane are 12 and 13. Rico's made his way in from the wing to be a bit of a midfield man, which means there's no spot for Joe Marchant in the team this week, which is surprising, seeing as he was supposed to be sticking around. Fa'ane is good, really good. He's not, again, maybe going to match his opposite number in terms of reputation, but hopefully he can do it on the field. Caleb Clark's back from sevens, and he's on the left wing. Mark Talea was probably the form winger of Super Rugby before lockdown, he was 5 tries. And tackle busts or defenders beaten, he was at like 50 something, and the next best guy was like 30 something, and Laumape was 20 something. So that kind of puts you in context how good he was playing. And as I said, Beauden Barrett's at 15. There's going to be a lot of people mad that Beauden Barrett's not at 10, but I guess his first game, maybe they're kind of easing him into it. We will have to wait and see. The reserves, Eklund, Lindenmuth, Renata, Kauli Tuioti, Christy Plummer, and Duffy will get his 50th game. Injuries, Carl Tuinukuafe is not available. Stephen Perifeta, as I mentioned. And I guess just selection choices. One of the big ones will be Akira Ioane is not playing. He's kind of been in and out of the squad. Behind Hoskins Satutu, he's kind of that guy who people thought maybe should have been an All Black, but now can't quite crack the Blues starting lineup, so it's still pretty ominous for him. And Dan Carter, they did say would probably be a few weeks before he got a run. They seem to be sticking to their word with that one, so there's no sneaky spot for him on the bench. Now, that's a pretty good-looking Blues team, even if you wanted Beauden at 10. He's still there at 15, where he's going to hopefully cause some carnage. But the Hurricanes team is also no slouches. Armstrong, Coles, and Lomax. Like I mentioned, Lomax, I'm not going to go on about the red card thing. Coles is co-captain. And when I mentioned, like, Parsons or Coles, everyone's going to pick Coles all day long. So maybe the Hurricanes have got it in the front row. Blackwell and Scrafton. There's no real big names in New Zealand rugby of all these locks. Tuipulotu would be the biggest. There's no kind of, Scott Barrett. There's no Sam Whitelock, Brody Retallick kind of names. But it should be a good battle. The back row, again, will be an interesting battle. Princep, 6, Karifi, 7, and Evans, 8. Different styles. Karifi is also another one of your fetchers. They'll have to be mindful of the fact that the breakdown laws have been tweaked a little bit in terms of if you're going to get a pilfer, you actually need to be over the ball and lifting the ball, not just kind of having access to the ball and not doing anything with it. So you can't force penalties that way. You will be penalised if you're not actually lifting the ball, which is one thing they're going to look at. Gareth Evans and Princep are top players as well. Perenara and Jackson Garden Bishop. So Perenara's co-captain at 9. He should have it over Sam Nock, but we will see. Garden Bishop and Otere Black are probably on about the same level in terms of reputation. So it's going to be a challenge for them to see who runs the show a bit better. Laumape and Aso, in terms of the reputation, you'd probably say have a bit more experience and maybe should be able to boss the Blues midfield because the Blues have got a winger playing centre. Although Faiane is really good. He doesn't have the same reputation as I mentioned as Laumape. But so Faiane and Ioane will have their work cut out for them holding Laumape back. And then the back three is Ben Lam, Tia, and Hussein. Tia's class. So there's no Geordie Barrett. So he's injured. So there's no battle of the Barretts, which is unfortunate. But Chase Tia is really excited and probably a bit underrated, as people do remind me sometimes. And I'm guilty of that sometimes as well. Ben Lam is a proper big try-scoring winger, and him up against Talea will be fascinating because he also had 5 tries before lockdown. Wes Hussein is more like he's a good foil to him. He's a small winger, but very elusive runner and stronger than he looks. So he keeps Kovas Van Fake out of the squad. There's no Fletcher Smith either. And, like I mentioned, Geordie's injured. The reserves, they got Almoa, Mafaleo, that's Tavita Mafaleo, and Alex Vidal. So probably, again, Ford's reserves, you probably give that to the Canes. Maybe I'm just being a bit pessimistic as a traditional Blues fan. Wakalia Wede, Vaya Fafita, and Ardie Savea. So they're going for a 6-2 split on the bench. Ardie Savea is back from a long-term injury. Vaya Fafita is an All Black with not a small amount of caps. So yeah, they could bring the pain to the Blues in the second half. We will see. And then they got Jamie Booth and Billy Proctor covering the back line. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch. As I mentioned, they're estimating maybe around 40,000 fans, which would be huge for a Super Rugby game. The Blues are favourites for this one, I guess partially based on that record, partially on the fact that they had the wood on the Hurricanes in that previous game this year. 5-point favourites according to the bookies and 2-point favourites according to the algorithm of rugby forecasts. So, yeah, I'm going So I won't be live streaming this game because I will be at the game. I think the weather forecast was for showers, but today's forecast seems to think it might be just some nice fine weather. So it should be a good one. If you are looking to get tickets, jump on, because they might not have that many at the door. But yeah, Blues Hurricanes, man. Beauden Barrett's playing for the Blues. It's going to be a good time. Rugby is back. We've got Highlanders Chiefs tonight. And then Blues, Canes tomorrow. It should be a good time. You guys let me know what you reckon about this one. How do you think this one's going to go? If you think you know, jump on the Super Brew pool. I'll see if I can leave a link in the description for the old Super Brew pool where you can make your predictions game, which is always a bit of fun. And if you haven't worked out how you're going to watch this game, stick around because I'll show you how you can do that using ESPN Plus for $5 American a month. But yeah. Anyway, guys, take care, and I'll see you again soon. See you later. Alright guys, Blues against Canes. If you haven't worked out how to watch it, here is an option. ExpressVPN. I'm connected to Seattle. That one seems to work pretty well for me. Jump on ESPN Plus. The good thing about ESPN Plus, it's $4.99 US a month. Compare that to a lot of the prices around the world. It is remarkably cheap. ESPN have said they're going to simulcast the games for Super Rugby Aotearoa on ESPN2, which is the cable network, but also ESPN Plus, which is the online streaming service. So you can see here the games are scheduled to go. These are obviously my local times, but using VPN, you can jump on to watch Super Rugby for $4.99 American, which for mine, as I said, is pretty good value. So to get that where you are, if you're not in the United States, you will need to use a VPN so you can, be in the United States for the time you're watching the game. ExpressVPN is the one I used. I used it back when I was in China to get over the Great Firewall, and I've used it during like the Rugby World Cup and stuff like that. So it's a pretty useful one because it's got heaps of different server locations. As I said, Seattle's the one that worked for me. Find one that works for you. When you sign up, you will have to enter a US zip code. I did that just by Googling a Seattle zip code. I tried to make it match the one location that I was using on the VPN. I don't know if that makes a difference. But yeah, there's a link to the VPN in the description. If you sign up for a year, you get 3 months free. So yeah, it's got a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I think for $5 American, it's worth at least a test to see if you can get it done. And yeah, we can all enjoy the rugby. Cheers, guys. Take care.